Alright, so this is going to be another different type of video. This is going to be an unscripted discussion type of video, and the only reason I'm making this is because many people have been asking me, why is Sonic Frontiers your favorite Sonic game? And to be completely honest, I mean, it's just a good game in my opinion, and I know many people say it's perfectly rated, and yes, I do say it's a decent 7.5 out of 10 type of game. And to be completely honest, when I first saw the reveal trailer of, the whole thing being presented to us, I was like, yo, that seems like a pretty cool idea, concept of Sonic being in an open world type of setting. And even my best friend here, he was pretty excited, and he was like, yo, that seems like a pretty nice concept of them having Sonic kind of like Breath of the Wild type edition, I guess, if you want to call it like that. The funny part is, when I first got the game, because I did get the game on launch day, I didn't pre-order it, I just went to like a Target or something, and I think I got it there. I can't remember, because this was what, like almost 4 years ago, I think. It's technically 3 or something, but yeah, I got the game and I was like, all right, so let me try it out. So I got the game, and I'm gonna be completely honest, and I feel like many people can probably agree with me because I've seen many comments that have said the same thing. I played the game for like a good 30 minutes to like an hour. I got pretty bored with it, and like I said in previous videos, where I kind of like to play a game one time, then go back to it another time, and then maybe my opinion might change. For example, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I recently replayed Sonic Colors. I hated the game at first. I was like, this is probably one of the most boring games that we have gotten, and my opinion, has changed ever since. So just wait for that specific video to come out soon. It's going to be a Sonic Colors review video again, but I did not like the game at first. I was like, what am I supposed to do here? It just feels kind of all over the place. It's a big, broad type of open world type of setting, and then I just couldn't get into it. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna beat the game. So I think it was 2023, if not maybe early 2024. I remember I was still doing Zoom meetings or something like that for my classes, and then I just played the game, and I was like, okay, well, time to go crazy. I woke up at 6 in the morning every single day before my Zoom classes and everything like all that type of stuff, and that was probably one of the best feelings like I've ever had. Like, it was so chill, so cozy, just me waking up early in the morning, play Sonic Frontiers. It just felt like a whole new experience for me, especially when it comes to Sonic games. So okay, here's the thing. I actually did enjoy the open zone and the open world, and this is like my third time playing the game. This is my third playthrough. I personally like the little side missions you have to do, the little quests, challenges type of things you have to do. The only thing I'm just not a fan of is, why do you always have to like unlock parts of the map? I understand, like, that's the whole purpose of you doing these side missions or whatever they're called. I'm just not a fan of that, but I guess it kind of made a purpose of why you had to do these challenges, but I digress. When it came to me and why I actually like Sonic Frontiers, I just personally like the freedom that you had to move around with Sonic, and I feel like we haven't had a game like that in a very, very long time. Like, I personally enjoy hub worlds. For example, I enjoy the Sonic Adventure 1, 06, and Unleash hub worlds. Like, they felt something like a breath of fresh air like that, and I guess in that sense, because you're not only going from stage to stage, level to level, all that type of stuff. Like, there was some sort of freedom right there. Like, you get to interact with humans again, all that type of stuff. I don't know, it just felt something so unique. And while yes, Sonic Frontiers did not have a hub world, I gotta say it's pretty crazy how free you can go, like how fast you can go and what you can do in these areas. I just like running around pretty much. I think that's like one of my biggest guilty pleasures of the game. Me just running around doing absolutely nothing. Just boom, fight enemies, do all that type of stuff. I love the combat system in the game. I'm probably one of the few people that actually enjoy it. I just feel like it's pretty easy to somewhat master. Maybe not for some people, but I actually enjoyed the combat system. That's probably one of my favorite things in the game. I think it all came down to how flawless the combat system was, kind of. I know people are going to hate me for that, but it just felt so unique, and I know many people are going to be like, yo, it's just purely just animations, and while yes, that is true, it just felt something so fluid and so like easygoing compared to like the Werehog type of combat, which I do enjoy the Werehog combat, but I just prefer this one a little bit more because there's more tricks and type of different systems to follow to boom, go crazy with your enemy and go against the bosses, all that type of stuff. So yeah, that was already two things that I actually enjoyed already about the game. We already have the open zone and we already have the combat system. Now, going back to the actual maps, we have Kronos Island, we have the other one, I can't remember from the top of my head right now. I think it's Arid. I can't remember, but probably confusing it with Unleashed. And then we have Chaos, all that type of stuff. But I think my favorite might have to be Chaos Island. I know many people don't actually like that one, but it just felt something so special. There was something so unique about it. Like, it just felt so dark, so gloomy, and I don't know, just being around that like hard type of surface. Ayo, pause. It just felt pretty cool, and just seeing the lava, that type of stuff. I don't know, man, but there was something so unique about it, and I have to say Chronos is a close second. But there's just something so vibrant and so beautiful about the game. I just love the whole scenery of the game, and I feel like we haven't gotten a game this beautiful since Unleashed. And you guys can go crazy on me, but I think Frontiers, despite the pop-ins, is actually a pretty good looking game. It's probably one of the most beautiful games besides Unleashed. So once again, probably a hot take or something, but feel free to go crazy on me in the comments. Now, going back to the cyberspace stages and the whole level design, I have to say that I was not a huge fan of it, and I was not a huge fan of how Sonic controlled in the cyberspace stages, you know, because my man controlled pretty stiff. He felt kind of sluggish. He felt like you couldn't really control him at times, especially when he wanted to do like drifting. I was not a huge fan of that, and I was like, man, it really sucks. And I feel like I said in my other video, what they should have done was make the next Sonic game have the Unleashed boost stages. That would be so peak, and I guarantee you many people would probably like it. Like, that would probably be the best implementation they can have for the next Sonic, I guess, Frontiers game or whatever. And although I do love Frontiers, I do have to admit, it seems pretty repetitive seeing the exact same stages over and over again. We got Green Hill Zone, we got Chemical Plant Zone, we got like the city type of area, pretty much a copy and paste of Sonic Adventure 2. We got other stuff, Sky Sanctuary, all that type of stuff, man. And I was like, dude, really? You couldn't have come up with creative things and give us new stages or something? I would have loved to see like a whole desert, water type of area. I don't know, man, something so unique to the Sonic, I guess, games nowadays, where it just feels kind of bland. And I'm glad they kind of did that with Shadow Generations, where they kind of remastered, remade the whole stages. But I just really hope they can give us something so, like, give us another Jungle Joyride type of stage again. I really want to see that happen in the next Sonic game. But yeah, man, I just wasn't a huge fan of the whole level design. They felt pretty linear, they felt pretty straightforward, and like I said in my other video as well, like, I'm gonna reference this video as much as I can, where the whole game and actual stages felt like it was another Sonic Forces type of situation. And I know many people are not gonna agree with that, but the stages, number one, they felt way too slow. Like, no, not slow, they felt way too quick. Like, you would finish a stage in like 2 minutes or a minute and a half or something like that. Some of them would even last like 30 seconds, and I'm like, dude, I want to play stages that last at least like 5 minutes, like in Shadow Generations once again. And I'm glad they learned from their mistakes, because we have stages now in Shadow Gens that were perfectly 3D and all that type of stuff and lasted pretty long. And I was like, dude, we should get that again. Why can't we get other stages that last longer? I don't like these stages that last for like 2 seconds. I'm like, can I please play the stage longer? For example, there's some stages that I personally enjoyed from this. I can't remember from the top of my head, but they just seem pretty cool. And to be completely honest, I'm not a huge fan of this as well, but the 2D sections just have to go, man. The 2D sections, I just wasn't a huge fan of as well, and I know many people just don't want to see 2D sections in 3D Sonic games anymore, because that belongs with classic Sonic. But there are some 2D sections that I actually did enjoy, and you know, you could speedrun the game, all that type of stuff, but it's whatever. So Cyberspace, I wasn't a huge fan of, and I know that's one of the biggest things they have to fix for the next Sonic game, but besides that, I actually did somewhat enjoy the Cyberspace stages. I mean, it could just be me, and I guess me being a huge fanboy, but they felt pretty unique at times. And I know they reuse many assets from previous games, but at this point, it's kind of like, the game is old already. It's in the past. You can't really do anything about it. So that's already 3 things, or I guess 4 things that I already pretty much explained about why I guess Sonic Frontiers not necessarily is like one of the best games or like one of the worst games, but it's a pretty decent game. And now going to the boss fights and all that type of stuff. Now going on to the boss fights, they're probably one of the best things, and I think these boss fights might be the best thing that has ever come out in the Sonic franchise. And I don't care if you tell me, well, Sonic Adventure 2 or SA1 had the best Sonic boss fights. Well, to be fair, SA2, I no disrespect, man, but I just wasn't a huge fan of it. But SA1, okay, that's a fair argument. Sonic Heroes, fair argument. Solaris, I ain't gonna lie, man, as much as I love 06, it just sucked. But these things, these titans, yo, They went crazy, and with the music, the soundtrack of like the boss fights, oh my goodness, bro, they felt so good. Like you felt like you were actually there. You actually felt like Super Sonic. You had to use so many different things that you have learned with the combat system, like parry, going crazy with the enemy, so many different things that you can actually implement, things that you have learned, techniques that you have learned into these boss fights. Come on, man. The whole thing was just crazy. Like the first Titan that I fought, I was like, dude, yeah, this is it. This is it. And I know many people say, well, the only reason Sonic Frontiers is good is because of the boss fights. That's a fair argument, but at the same time, I love the other things as well. But the boss fights is probably the best thing to come out of this game. And I can't disagree there. Like the boss fights is probably the best aspect of Sonic Frontiers. So if they continue with these type of boss fights in the next game, I'm sure many people are going to actually enjoy this. And I mean, to be fair, man, we already have so many abilities in this game that, you know, seeing Cyber Sonic or whatever, Super Sonic 2, all that type of stuff corrupted, yo, that was actually insane. But we'll get into the DLC in a bit. And to be completely fair, it felt like every single boss fight was getting harder and harder for each map and each what's it called, island. So that was pretty much like a nice, neat little touch, in my personal opinion, because it felt like they were getting harder. Like you had to implement everything that you learned into like something new into each and every single boss fight that you were going into. But yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on the base game. Base game, I would have to give it like a solid, like I said, 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't the best Sonic game, but for me, it might just be one of the best, not the best. I still think Unleashed might be the best Sonic game, if not SA1 or something like that. And once again, hot take, you guys can go crazy tell me in the comments, but that's just my opinion. Now we're going on to the DLC. Now once again, in the DLC, you can play as Amy, Tails, and my boy Knuckles. And to be completely fair, I was not a fan of how every single one of these characters controlled, and I think to be fair, once again, I think Sega was trying to implement something new and pretty much revive the adventure type of formula, but with these characters in this game. I think what they're trying to do is bring back the adventure formula and probably implement it with a boost, maybe. And while yes, I did enjoy the DLC that released, the Final Horizon DLC, I just wasn't a huge fan of how they controlled like all these three characters. I know that they patched up a bunch of things in this update, such as the Knuckles gliding or something like that. I can't remember, but I actually did enjoy the Knuckles gliding and all that type of stuff. I wasn't a fan of how Amy controlled. The tornado felt a little bit wonky at times, but once again, I just wasn't a huge fan of like how they all controlled, and I really hope they can fix that if they really want to implement new type of playstyles in the next Sonic game. And to be completely fair, once again, Sonic, I love the boost formula, but I mean, it's the only redeeming factor of me getting to play as Sonic in this game. But yeah, the DLC, it felt more like of a slugfest, to be completely honest. It just felt too long. I just wasn't a huge fan of it, and I know it's like a good hour long, but yeah. Now going back to the actual final boss of this, I really wish they would have implemented this final boss into the actual base game, and I'm glad they gave us this DLC, and it was just a blast. The cutscenes, the animation, over the roof. It was probably one of the best we have ever gotten in a long time. And like I said, Frontiers may not necessarily be everybody's favorite game, but to me, it was something special. So yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I just love this game so much for what it offers you, and I know it has its flaws, and I really hope that Sega can build off this game and improve many different things that they want to improve and what the fans want, such as the cyberspace, the open zone, because it did feel at times like the open zone was pretty boring and bland, but like I said, I actually enjoyed it because I get to run around as fast as I can with Sonic. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, the story of the game wasn't necessarily the greatest. It was a pretty simple story, all that type of stuff. But I mean, I guess the inclusion of Sage was pretty unique, and the whole cyber corruption type of thing was pretty goated, I guess, also. Like, you get to be in this whole cyberspace type of area. Oh man, it felt pretty cool to me. But the story could have been better, and I feel like Sega is kind of going back into like that darkish tone type of story that we had back in the day with the Dark Ages, as many people like to state, with Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, I guess, Shadow, I guess, I don't know, man, but it could be going back to that dark and gritty type of tone, maybe. So yeah, you guys let me know in the comments down below, what did you guys think of Sonic Frontiers? I personally think it's probably going to stay as my favorite game until the next Sonic game that comes out. maybe, like, I just really hope the next Sonic game has all three of my boys again, Sonic, Shadow, and Silver, and give them unique different play styles and all that type of stuff. I just want to see different characters get as much love as I guess they used to back in the day, because ever since I guess Sonic 06, it's just purely been Sonic, 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 and I think Frontiers was the step in the right direction into introducing, I guess, more characters back, and they kind of, I guess, did okay with that. So yeah, once again, I have to rate this game like a good 7.5 out of 10, possibly an 8 out of 10 if I'm being completely generous to this game. But you guys let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of Sonic Frontiers, because I would love to hear why you guys may like it, enjoy it, and possibly hate the game or even dislike it. So, you know, we all have our own preferences, and this is why I will always love Frontiers. The open zone was just so unique, and I'm glad that they did that, because to be honest, we were probably starving after Forces, and we were just extremely disappointed with that game. So we were expecting like the most simplistic thing, and Sega gave us something so big and enormous. So yeah, I mean, that pretty much summarizes why I enjoy Frontiers. So once again, I'll catch you guys in the next one, and for now, stay safe, take care, and peace.